Hello, everybody. Welcome to the off-season Dragon Cast. I'm your host, Malachi, joined today by
Kaya.
And Toshido.
your wonderful staff members who are mostly happily enjoying our break from doing lots of DBZ League work, enjoying our holiday time. Um, but
We are?
hope. Uh,
I
true.
am.
We are. Yeah, true. We are here in the recording booth doing this, so we're not fully on break yet, but we will be soon. Um, just to give but first things first. We need to give Team Muscle a congratulations for winning the 2022 Bowl. East Kai, congratulations for winning, beating the boss rush. And
North Kai
Super.
valiant effort.
Yeah,
I'm still
North Kai
kind of iffy on that.
Yep, the North Kai gets an honorable mention for almost beating the boss rush. And Super Perfect Cell for winning the MVP. Now, if you only follow us on YouTube, you may not know you may not know all the changes we have made, but you have certainly seen our probably the maybe important change, which is General Blue. He got turned into chocolate, and Android 21 has taken his place in the league. But we also have a ton of other changes coming this season. If you want, if you're in our Discord, you guys are well aware, and we encourage you guys to come to the Discord and see for yourself what all we've got coming. If you're following our testing channel, you've probably seen the new maps and new costumes, and maybe even Android 21 in action already. But yeah, we had a lot. So with that, Kaya, why don't you give me and tell our listeners one change you're looking forward to seeing in action?
Let me see. We announced so many changes coming up, but I think one of the biggest changes that I'm excited about is FA testing. Before you couldn't really test FAs during the off season, that kind of stuff, unless they were on your master list. But now we've opened that up, so I'm hoping for a lot more, bloodlust and fighting when it comes time for bidding next season. I want to see some. I want to see some fights.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Kyle wants nothing but carnage.
I woke up seeking violence.
Yep. Tosh, what about you?
For me, it's probably have to be the change that was made to the health pushback or the emergency thing, where it no longer does 5k per pushback. It does 2.5 instead. But while it's not satisfying to see Roshi do like 3 to 4 pushbacks in a row and everything like that, at least you get to survive a bit more, and it's not literally taking away a lot of your health from that. So
Yeah, we've seen Roshi and others. I think there's even a couple times where like Cell just did like half their health in the pushback damage within like a second, and it's great if you're the other team, but not so much if you're the one trying to do that.
yeah, on the receiving end, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. As for me, like I'm really mostly looking forward to the Patara changes. Whether it's either just the cost changes or like we should see like Aura Charge X, so like everybody having fun with the different versions of Rising Fighting Spirit now, or all the new Pataras. Like there's just so many we added, and very few being damage oriented. I think we only had like out of like a dozen Pataras we modded, only like 3 have any direct bearing on damage you do. But it's more,
Actually,
a lot
yeah.
more.
Actually, I think it's just the one.
So there's Focus Shot, there's Charged Attack that got
Oh, yeah.
modded. Although that mod is more, it doesn't have the downside, and it has some other secondary effects. And then Chase Down Artist has the it has +2 on both of the ping pong attacks.
Okay, fair.
So like it doesn't increase the damage, it just makes it easier to do damage with them. But yeah, like we've got a lot more defensive Pataras like Ultra Instinct Omen, where, you know, if you're very dodgy, you might be causing some more of those health pushbacks, but it's also, you know, a lot more focus on key efficiency and things like that, along with, we might actually see B1 builds be viable now. They have so many new options. It's great. But yeah, I think that's it. All we're gonna say for now on the announcements. We are gonna try and spend some time over the off season to highlight some of these changes on YouTube and TikTok in some way. Don't know when those will go up, but they should be coming. And hopefully you know, maybe through the YouTube community posts or separate videos. Don't know yet. We're still working on it. But keep an eye out for those. And then with that, let's just go on and get into our questions. Unless either of y'all two have something you want to bring up before we get into that.
Nope.
Alright. So, our first question, because it's been a while since we've done a Dragon Cast, is from Lieutenant Rai. When can GT Goku start in Super Saiyan 4?
Not today. No, more realistic answer is we had to test a lot with all the Master List changes, all the new Pataras, all that kind of stuff. We didn't get a chance during the season to really test out Super Saiyan starting forms. Something we're still looking into, but we do not have a definitive time frame or answer at the moment about any other Super Saiyan starting forms.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, and yeah, that will go ahead and answer our next question from Havoc. Any news on higher form Super Saiyans being allowed?
Rewind the podcast about 30 seconds back.
Yeah. Just for context, this was asked back in October. We've since made an announcement about that, where Super Saiyan 2 and Goku and Muscle Form Trunks are allowed. These were basically the only 2 that we could complete testing on and feel comfortable with. But keep an eye out. While those are the only 2 allowed for 2023, we are actively working on it. So, next question is from Armed Roz. What are some loans or trades that you would love to see during the off season, if you can think of any?
I already got mine, so like.
Okay, for our listeners, can you explain?
So, I'm Coach of Rugrats, and me and my team, we basically worked with GT and got a loan out. We gave them Pan and I think 4 Zenny, in order to get GT Goku on our team. So, a bit of a stronger team and everything. We kind of got rid of our weak link and everything. So, but outside of that, I honestly, at this point, I would really love to see, and for the listeners who's now on Discord, there was a loan that went through between RW and ED where they have, and Earth Defenders now have End Vegeta. I really want somehow for End Goku to come back onto Earth Defenders, just cause I want a potential fusion, but I know it's probably not going to happen. I would really love to see that. Um, yeah, those I think that will probably be the main one I will be looking forward to. I would
That's
say.
fair. That is fair. For me, I want to see like high, super high level. I would love to see 13 on androids, and I would love to see Super 17 on GT. Um, not sure the specifics of how such loans or trades would work, but I would just love to see 13 come to where he truly belongs on Team Androids, and Super 17 is just an iconic GT character for me.
Yeah, you will actually have all the GT villains on one
Yep.
team actually, and
Yeah.
Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta, but like yeah.
Yeah, I mean, another one would be putting Nova on GT. I think that would be hilarious.
I mean,
So-
that will actually complete it all to an extent.
Yeah.
He was a villain at one point before he turned
Yep.
to the good side.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Kaio, what about you?
Honestly, not super sure. I don't know. The one change I would want to happen is more an FA than. I want to see Sentai pick up Videl. It's not. I mean, she's an FA right now, so it wouldn't be a loan thing. But yeah, that's the only thing I can think of, team shakeup wise, that I would like to see.
I don't think she is an F.
Yeah,
I
I was
think
gonna
she
say,
was
I think
actually on
Budokai
Budokai.
picked her up.
What?
I think she was
Yeah.
on the bench though. This
Oh,
season.
there you go. Then yeah, Budokai.
No, wait,
you're
no,
right.
no. She was used. She was used.
Yeah, you're right. Then never mind. Then yeah, somehow Budokai and Sentai. Get Videl over to Sentai.
Actually, maybe. Yeah.
I think there's like maybe one more I would like to see, and that's like a three-way. Somehow get, or it's maybe a four-way. Super Boo or Go Tanks, Boo Tanks or Buhan, Perfect Cell, Late Pickle. I just want like somehow like for the main people on those three teams to swap, and I think it's either through a three-way or a four-way, and I can't think of the route right now.
Well, I mean, like, Bootanks and Late Piccolo could just straight up swap. I think another way you could do it would be,
Oh yeah, that will be one way.
yeah, like, I
Because
think
androids
the
won't be able to get through it because they don't have. There's no androids on either of those teams.
yeah, like, I think it would have to involve Muscle or Resurrected Warriors in some way to either get 13 or 18 on there. But maybe, you know. But yeah, that would definitely be fun and definitely be a huge shakeup. So hopping down to our next question, Tumnus asked, what team were you most surprised by its final placement, i.e., playoffs, out in the semis, etc.?
I'm assuming he just means final Kai placements. and
Uh,
stuff.
I'm assuming just like final postseason placement.
Hold on, let's pull up
like-
the spreadsheet.
Yeah. While y'all are looking at it, I'm just gonna go ahead and say Muscle. Like they had such a rough main season. Earth Defenders were honestly looking better than them. Cold were looking better than them.
Mhm.
And there were so many things that had to line up just right for Muscle to get back to the bowl.
Good,
And yeah.
So, just so you know, Mal, it is North Kai is Cold, Hybrids, Androids, Royals. East Kai, Kaiju, Sentai, Cinema, and Rugrats. West Kai, GT, Dirt, Muscle, and Earth Defenders. And then South is Rez, Namek, Bujins, and Budokai.
Yeah, it's just weird to hear Bujins in South Kai, or now Buu Saga, I guess I should say.
Yeah, Buzaga. Honestly, Androids and Royals I expected to be in North Kai. Cold Kingdom I could see up there, but most of the times I've seen them as like a East Kai. Hybrids I would say is strong, but I would have probably thought they would have been in East Kai more so. they just had a lot of things go their way in the main season, to be honest.
Well, yeah, and let's also be real. Like, some of that is also Boo Saga had a really rough season,
Yeah.
and that shook things up a bit as well.
Outside
So
of that, I want to say.
Bujin's
Okay.
not making it. Bujin's not making it was my biggest shock.
yeah. I mean, and it would have been, as I said, North Kai last year was just so consistently weak together. Like, we had even a couple matches gone differently. We could have seen Muscle out, we could have seen ED out, we could have seen RW out, and that would have made for a very different. That could have made for a very different postseason.
3 teams in North Kai was tied at 6 and 9, and with Bujins at 5 and 10.
Yeah.
That's how close it was.
But yeah. So let's go ahead and move on. Snuffy Sam asked, which of the new Pataras or adjusted cost Pataras are you most interested to see used? Kyle?
Okay.
Focused shot, and then we adjusted Dragon Spirit, right?
Yep.
Then yeah, those two.
Tosh?
I would say UIO, Alternative Omen, and Dragon Spirit are like the main two. Oh, and Chase. No, Key Control. Key Control. I think that's one of my other like new favorites so far.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna echo you on Key Control and Ultra Instinct Omen. I think my third would probably be either Chase Down the Artist or Dragon Beat or Pulse, because that particular effect was never used in a yellow Patara in the base game. And it looks really good, but it's also one of those things of is really volatile. And so, like in all seriousness, it's one of those things of, I wasn't joking when I said earlier, B1 builds are now viable, and I really do think like Dragon Beat and Dragon Pulse are going to be key parts of making it viable, along of course with like Dragon Spirit being 1 point now. So
I will say, Mal, I did actually use UIO and Dragon Pulse together, and it can be scary.
On who's you
I used it on Cell Junior, but how fast he was gaining Blastox, especially when he came in starting with Savior, that really worked out. So put that, Cell Junior is not like the best character, but put that on someone else that especially loves to go max power and can utilize their B1s or whatever even more. Yeah.
Hey, so what I'm hearing is we now know what Kid Trunks' build is for 2023.
I already tried one, UIO and KSA. I figure. So.
Yeah, apparently, silence is agreement.
Oh, I was muted. They heard me. I had my OBS mic going through. But yes, I tried it on Kid Trunks, UIO, and KSA. So, yeah.
Nice.
And it worked out well.
Yep. And then, yeah. Moving on. Hey Ryan, Let's Play asked, does staff believe in the Champions Tower conspiracy? No. So, moving on. Buzz asked, has staff discussed any strategies to try and make it so the final bowl contenders are more diverse for following seasons after repeating 2020 and 2022 to a T? High level, yes, we are, and we started talking about this before the postseason. We are looking at ways to revamp both the preseason and the postseason to better account for how things work now. No final decisions have been made. And if you guys have any suggestions, we want to hear them. We intend to have all our changes finalized before the season starts, of course, so that everybody knows and can appropriately plan for it. But yeah, Kaio, Tosh, do y'all have anything to add to that?
Just we hear everything that's being said. We're doing what we can to make sure, you know, that stuff changes for the health and fun of the league.
Mhm.
Yep. And I do want to add in, like, even if you have an extremely, like, even if your idea would potentially even impact the main season, don't feel like you should keep it to yourself. Like, we want to hear it. You know, we do want to try and keep a lot of the spirit of the main league with divisionals and Kais and things like that. But, like, you know, at the end of the day, if we've got to change it for the health of the league, we will change it. So, but next question. Armed Raw is asking, what was the reason for some of the master list changes? Example, Bujin's becoming Buu Saga or Derp's expansion. So, before I give it over to Kaio or Tosh to expand on this, the biggest motivation is just that was guiding us to make expansions and changes as a whole was the success and desire for trades and loans, and wanting to give we wanted to give teams more options. And so we had to do a few things, which is one, reduce the number of exclusives each team had, and number two, expanding team master lists. We did not want to unnecessarily change themes just for the sake of changing themes. Bujin's in particular, their coach actually suggested this expansion about a year ago, and we just couldn't make the change at the time because they had wanted to participate in loans and trades, but until we got rid of all their found a way to get their members on other teams, it wouldn't have fixed their issue. So, and then Kaio, anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, you pretty much explained it. It's just for the health of the league, so some teams weren't just stuck with the same 5-man roster. It's kind of like what Ginyu Force used to be like. We didn't want that issue popping up where you're only swapping in 1 or 2 people. Try to give everyone better stuff to pick from, more loans options, all that jazz.
Yep.
Tosh?
You pretty much said everything. I don't really have much to add there.
Okay. Door asking, are there any loans you hope to see or would be surprising to see? I think we answered this. Yeah, we answered the first half of this. What do you guys think would be a surprising loan?
I would be surprised to see Cell go anywhere.
Yeah. That was probably unfortunate.
Cell or 17 would be the biggest shock.
Yeah.
I would say probably, in kind of echoing, not for Cell, but either Ultimate Gohan or Team Gohan.
Right.
Yeah. And
trust me, I've tried. They're not budging apparently, like at all. So it's shocking.
Yeah, and on that one, like, really any really good character is going to be hard to see move.
Heck, even Late Piccolo, because I think
doesn't
Late Piccolo go on Edie and
yeah, late
GT?
Piccolo can now fit on at least Earth Defenders, maybe GT, I don't remember, and Budokai, and Buu Saga as well.
Yeah, true.
Now, and there's been a couple. There were a couple like good offers for Late Piccolo, but he has not moved yet. So like at this point, I kind of would be surprised to see him move, but it may just be the right deal has not come along. I don't know.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Desi asked, hopes for Android 21 since Jiren was very explosive in his release season. How do you think she'll be?
I'm honestly hoping she's middle of the road to maybe above average, but nothing too crazy. We we kind of went into it wanting her to be good, but not
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I hope this time next year we look back, and if she is between 40 and 45k, we will have been very successful.
Mhm.
And I'll even expand it to 35 to 45. I'd be happy.
Yeah, that's very fair. Like, understand Android 21, what was not, or it might be easier to say it this way, like, Jiren was intended to buff Sentai. Android 21 was not.
Yeah, it's a different mentality when you're doing a character that can be on teams versus character for FA only.
Yeah, and yeah, and it really just comes down to that. Like, my greatest hope is we come to the end of next season, Android 21 was used, and that's all we know about her. Like, we don't hear she's overpowered or she's underpowered. If that has happened, we have done our job.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Havoc asking, did Boss Rush live up to staff expectations?
No. Well,
Yes.
well, the later half. The later half, yes. The early half, hell no.
It was scary at first, but
Yeah,
the end results are what we want. We
Yeah.
had a close one, we had a stomp, we had a victory, and we had another one.
yeah, we had 2 stomps and a close loss and a victory. Like, I was getting concerned the AI would completely derp out on us after Isekai. I am happy that
They woke up.
they woke up and realized, yeah, this is a thing.
No,
And then
they turned against their master, Mao. Me and you. They turned
Uh,
against me on my team.
what's this about you being their master?
I helped out with this.
You did
I
help
take,
out
I,
with
I
this
take,
thing.
I take
I'm the one
some
who
credit.
came up with the
Yeah.
builds.
I'm like the side, like I'm a little,
You're-
I'm a tier below you. I'm a tier below you. I don't take full credit. I take some.
But
Nah,
yeah,
but
no,
it
like
was fun. Oh, testing
Yeah,
dungeon
and-
though. I feel like
Te-
is
testing
coming up.
dungeon is a thing. It was a useful experience. The theme for this was something we came up with early on, and we will be able to better tune it for next year. But it's also a little hard. I think it's harder to balance in some ways because it's one round,
Yeah,
and
yeah. I can
and
understand.
if the team decides to derp, well, you don't have anything to fall back on. But I will say it was so nice seeing Kid Buu tag in early, and then, like, in all of our testing, Tosh, when Kid Buu came in early, he became ult happy.
Yep.
So
Even Scouter Vegeta, I think, versus Weskai was doing amazing. Like how he's shown to do in many of our tests as well.
yeah, and yeah, like, so that people understand, like, Scouter Vegeta was doing to most teams what he did to Weskai. Like, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that, Tosh. Like, he was usually tearing through a character and a half to 2 characters most testing.
Yeah, and I guess for me it was more so just surprising because, like, I expected it, but at the same time, against the character that he was going against, which was Ultimate Gohan, like when you put those two against each other, you will usually expect the other one, even if he's at a disadvantage, to come out on top. But that was not the case. So,
Yeah.
um, I think my hope was just I hope everyone enjoyed it and everything. It was definitely fun testing this out and seeing what we could have came up with and everything like that with Mal's crazy experimentations and all this stuff. So hopefully
Yeah.
y'all enjoyed it, and who knows, like maybe things can we can always try to make it harder or whatever. If that's the case if we need to.
Oh, if they want it harder, we didn't even plumb the depths of what we had access to, and
Mm-hmm.
I've already had ideas for adding new red Pataras that will probably get added in soon. So they can have fun with that idea. Any other thoughts, guys?
Nope.
All right. Next question from insert joke here. How much will 21 cost?
We haven't gotten to
21.
that conversation yet. I hate
Yeah.
you, Kyle.
No, real answer. We have not discussed FA
That will
costs yet.
probably be like later on in the off season, like in the middle,
Yeah,
or whatever.
Like if you want to have a ballpark idea, I would look at the characters who are generally considered like 40k characters, and look at how we priced them in 2022. Because again, we target her for that range, and that will give you an idea of about where she'll be priced. But nothing is set in stone. We have not, as Kyle and Tosh said, we haven't had the conversation yet. That will be later in the off season, since because of loans, we do adjust Zenny for FAs seasonally. So, all right. Still number one, Showdown Dunce asked, why was Android 21 chosen as the new modded character?
Because I got my way.
Yes.
No.
Well, because of like popularity.
Yeah.
Popularity. If we ever wanted to make her a non-FA, she fits on a lot of different teams. Mostly popularity and other comments I'm not allowed to make.
Okay. Because I think at the time when we were especially thinking about pulling her in as our next modded FA or just modded character, I think that was like when she was really blowing up in Dragon Ball Fighters, and then like in the certain gacha games, like she was still getting some love there in terms of like having new card releases and all this stuff. So
yeah,
it seemed to make sense, like, you know,
her lab
kind of
coat
capitalize
form.
on it. Yep.
Her lab coat form getting released in Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then right after we decided on her, it got another bump because it was rumored and then confirmed that at least the human she was based off of was in the new Dragon Ball movie. And that got her another bump in popularity with the community.
Plus, she's pretty popular in the art community as well. So,
no comment there.
I'm just saying her popularity exceeds just the game, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying she has an online presence.
Yes, she does. And then, again, just to reiterate it, because I think we said this last year, at the moment, any character we add to the game has to replace somebody else. And so when we choose a character to bring in, it has to make an impact. Like, we still want to grow our numbers, and thank God we grew our YouTube subscriber numbers by 30% over the course of the season. When we started the season, we just hit 1,000 subs, and we are now at 1,300. But in order to keep, we need to keep growing and bringing in new blood, and hype characters like this are really the way to do it. Like, I would love to bring in characters that are lesser known but have a lot of practical utility. Like characters that could fit on 4 or 5 teams.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're not popular, they're not necessarily going to bring in new people that could help, support the teams, help run teams, do builds and all that. And at the end of the day, that's still our biggest need, is people to help run things and help be supporters on teams.
And also, the big reason for that is, like Malin mentioned before, it's because we have to get rid of someone.
Yep, that too.
If we didn't have to worry about replacing someone, we'd be a little more, what's the word?
Lenient?
No, not even lenient. We'd be bringing in a couple more characters than just
one at a time.
Yeah. So,
well,
not that.
Yeah. I'll also understand, like, and again, kind of going back to, like, when we choose a mod, one of the biggest things is it going to help the league? Via hype, is is the mod available and easily accessible? Because there are mods out there that I think would be really cool for the league, but you can't download them, and nobody knows how to get a hold of the maker for it. And when that happens, well, you're just kind of SOL. And then in other cases, it's like, and even when you do have a usable mod, like there was a ton of testing that we had to do this year to get 21 ready. So much testing.
Yes.
So it's a lot of work to bring in new characters. So we've just got to make sure it's worth our time and it's going to be good for the league. And I think our first two have been really good choices on the whole. And hopefully at some point, I'm still trying to learn, but hopefully we will get to a point where we can just add characters, and when that happens, Frieza Soldier and Blue will come back if I can ever get to that point. So, I think we've said what we can there. Enemy asked, what made you guys want to buff a mostly unused Potara like Unleash Latent Power, and do you think more people should use it?
The whole user part, I'm kind of whatever. I don't. It just it's it's a niche Potara regardless. I feel like if you bring it down or buff it a little bit more. But
also, he already kind of stepped on why we buffed it, was because it's a mostly unused Potara.
Yeah.
Most, we try to look at Potaras that either aren't getting used and see why, or, do we need it in the league, or is it something that just needs a little bit of a kick? We want to change things up in the sense that the league isn't fun when the same build works all the time.
You want to have a little bit of diversity with everything.
Exactly. Variety is the spice of life, and we want to make sure that there's always something new to try. There's always something, different to look forward to. It's more than just, sure, it works, but, we can always improve and make it more fun.
And especially like you compare it to Season 10, 2020, the league meta was very well understood by that point, and builds were very much getting stale across all teams. And now, like, I even go so far to say is now we've got enough options to where you could probably run a build without a blue Potara and it still be viable. Even though blue Potaras are probably some of the most cost efficient options you have.
Yeah, it might not be optimal, but it won't be seen as a guaranteed loss compared to a blue Potara build.
Yeah. And to that point, like that's a big reason why like key control, like this question, like with the mostly unused Potaras, like we did an audit of a whole bunch of Potaras at the beginning of 2022. Asked teams or asked coaches at least, like, hey, what unused Potaras are there? And we got a list of a bunch of them, and it was, when you're looking at about 12 to 15 Potaras in the league that are like, hey, nobody used them. The Tournament of Power reduced their costs. Nobody still used them because of one reason or another. Like, well, okay, well, what can we do? Moving on. Havoc asks, top 3 worst characters in the league at the moment, not counting Blue.
I guess for me it would be, Jiro. else I can kind of see benefits to, where they've shown some stuff, but I definitely Jiro. Honestly, that's the only one I'm gonna say. 'Cause I think, no, in all honesty, I think everyone else has something.
Listen, I love it, but I can at least hear two people right now saying you're giving Jiro slander. You're slandering Jiro's face.
I mean,
He has good taste in wives. I'll give him that.
I don't. Either Jiro, I would say Chi-Chi or Cyberman, but like both of them, I can feel like they have something that can work out for them.
yeah.
I don't. Maybe Goldo. Yeah, Goldo. I guess just throwing out there, but we haven't seen him in the league, not even as an FA, and he was picked up last season.
Yeah, I mean, he's been picked up as like a cheap FA option,
Yeah.
but that's it. It was just someone that said, "Hey, I gotta have an FA. Might as well be Goldo." So, in terms of characters actually used, I would probably have to say like Deborah would be up there, just because while he's been doing good in testing, but it just seems like he has performance anxiety, and the moment he steps on the field, he just stops working.
Yep.
Yep.
Um,
Or a curse.
yeah. Most of the other characters I think of, like even Chi-Chi, I think can be, she's never going to be the greatest, but she could be a 35k character.
Yeah, she can do something. I would say maybe Pan. I would, yeah, maybe Pan.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I'd hate if I got her as like a lone character or something.
I didn't want her in the beginning. But I got Avo.
Like the one, just looking at the stats from last season, like the one person that surprises me to see as low as he is Raccoon.
I mean, Raccoon, I think, was always like the problem child for majority of teams. Like he would do stuff, but then either slip off for the most part.
Yeah, like, well, I mean, some of it is just I was looking at his stats, and most of his stats are above average. It's just really weird to see him struggle, but he's not the only one like that. I mean, we were just talking about Deborah.
Say a Woman is one that's kind of surprising, because if I recall, she used to dominate the melee game at times.
She was one of the top characters in a season ago, I thought. Wasn't she in the All-Stars?
20?
Well, I think those stats are deceptively low because she was out most of the season. And then I think that Sentai, due to how they wanted to manage benches, I want to say they brought her in against Kaiju, and it just did, that just did not work out at all.
I'm just looking at 2020 real quick. She had a 47k average in 2020.
And yeah,
so, I'm not sure what happened. Like, she really fell off, and I don't think that they changed anything for her.
Yeah, looking at her numbers, I think she just had like two matches in, and one of them was against Kaiju, where she did 18k. And they probably just put her right back on the FA bench shortly thereafter. So those numbers aren't fully representative of what she can do. So, but yeah, I think that's about all we can say there, unless y'all have anything to add.
Nope.
All right. Next question is enemy controller. So with the new Pataras feeling like they have more impact than the last ones released, is that because of lack of people wanting to try them? Do either of you guys want to go first?
Nope.
I think it's just more so that I think people did try some of the new Pataras and everything like that, but since they couldn't get anything to work right off the bat, they didn't really try to stick with them. I could be wrong. But at least with this, like, one, what is it? We had Broken Glow, UDW, and those are only two for last season?
The other one was Ultimate Plus
Oh,
One.
Ultimate Plus One.
That
Yeah.
one's gotten a lot of use.
Ultimate
that
Plus One has gotten used, yes.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, and the biggest lesson learned is people are very hesitant to try out the high risk, high reward Pataras.
Mhm.
Because if you look at the list of Pataras from last season, Ultra Divine Water, Broken Glow were 4 points. Ultimate Plus One was 2 points. 4 points is more than half your build, so you have really got to feel that you're getting a lot out of it. And honestly, probably the person who tried running Ultra Divine Water the longest was Raccoon. And even then, I don't think Muscle stuck with that build in the main season.
Funny enough, I think him and maybe a few other people could really benefit from it, considering they had a defense plus already, so they had better survivability.
Yeah, like and I've also made it a point to say, like, I think at the low end, like if you're looking at your weak link of a team, Ultra Divine Water can be really good because they're your weak link. They don't have a lot to offer, and just giving them the room to get to those higher ceilings, even if it increases their volatility a bit, they're already your weak link. If your weak link can now do, if your weak link is normally going to do 30k on, a 40k build, or on a 40k, normal 40k health, and now, sure, he's got 30k, but if he's still doing 30k or more, there's nothing but win there in my book. But compare that to this season, where I don't think we had any new 4-point Pataras. They were all 3 points or less. Or reducing 4-point Pataras down to 3 points or less. So, and I think that's a big thing, because now each individual Patara is much less risk if it doesn't work out the way you want it to. Any other thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
No. All right. XMed asks, as a response to the most recent poll in the suggestions chat regarding Gauntlet and Boss Rush events, would y'all ever consider bringing the Gauntlet back as its own event, as in having a dedicated stream for it? As an off-season stream, I think it could be kind of cool, especially if you just put your teams in their Kai placements.
Honestly, I think I may have brought it up. I actually would love to bring it back personally, because it's something like, as long as it's not, because the Tenkai Ichibo, that was another part, was that the Tenkai Ichibo was already long, so adding on those 4 rounds and you have 4 Kais to go through it, that will take a bit. So if you had it for an individual stream by itself, yeah, I can see it. I'll be down.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we've already talked about that a little bit behind the scenes, about keeping it alive somehow, just not on top of the whole.
Yeah, like right now, the biggest thing is just to do it right without it feeling like it's gonna drag. It would probably need to be a 2-week event. And we're already looking at, I'm trying to think, like, we're already gonna have another Champions event. We've got the TOP. A lot of the challenge is just finding where to slot it in.
And tag team tournament.
And tag team tournament,
we have a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we already have a lot of stuff, and we also want to give our commentators a break as well. If we had about a dozen commentators, I don't think that would be as much of a problem, because we can just rotate in. Each commentator has much less burden, and we've talked about ways to help minimize that burden on our current commentators, but we just have to figure out how to juggle everything and all that. So all that to say, like, personally, I'm not opposed to it. I just think there's other things we've got to solve first.
Yep.
Next question from Havoc. What Kai do y'all expect to be the closest in terms of record? And then I'm gonna go ahead and ask the second question because I'm not sure what's being asked. Opinion on the performance of lone characters.
I think that's kind of tying in, like, based off the lone characters. Like, what do we think will be the closest for next season? Maybe. That's my.
Yeah, I think what I'm going to assume it is we've seen loans take place over the course of 2 seasons. Do we feel like they've done what we expected with the loans, or do we feel like, I don't know? It's for that thing. I think the loans that have been placed have done pretty well for the teams involved. There have been some cases where, when Baby went to Royals, obviously, that did better than Broly going to Cinema. But I don't think any loan was truly a pure negative for any team. Aside from even Pilaf, when he went to GT, did well for them.
Yeah.
And then for the other part, I'm gonna say East Kai, because that's Kaiju, Sentai, Cinema, and Rugrats. I think they're gonna be pretty neck and neck next season.
Oh yeah, Slug is now. I forgot. Yeah, King
Yeah,
Vegeta
Slug.
is no longer on. Kaiju is Slug.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Cinema is getting Garlic Jr. back, the bane of my existence, apparently. And Sentai is Sentai with freaking Jiren and Burter. So, maybe, I would say maybe East Kai. I definitely see North Kai being extremely competitive, especially since literally 3 teams were tied at 11-4. So.
Yeah. I expect North Kai Curse to kick in, and all of them are going to be like 8-7 again. So
That's still not a bad record. No, they need to do what North Kai did this year, 6-9, and someone at 5-10.
Nice.
yeah, I mean, as I said, for me, it's just too early to tell. Like, even with loans and trades going through, the sheer magnitude of changes, like, I don't know that anybody can even have a wild guess as to how things are going to go.
Yeah.
So, all right. Enemy Controller asked, looking back at last year's Pataras, would you do anything to change the Pataras to make them used, or leave them as is? And then, would you ever look into editing, combining unused Pataras in the league? Also, would you ever think of making or editing blue Pataras to maybe make a Key +2, or even another Key +2, with maybe Attack +1 instead?
Attack -1.
Or Attack -1,
I think that's already in the game. I think the game already has Pataras like that, where they have, I think it's Super +2, and then I think it's Attack -1 or something like that instead of Key -1.
Yeah, it's
Like
usually
that's
the
already done.
It's usually the +3s that are like that. Yeah, I'm just going to answer that second question first, which is, we already did that. They're called Key Control and Ultra Instinct Omen.
And Miracle Master.
Yeah, and Mirage Master replacing Miracle Master. So yeah, we have already done that for that very reason. In large measure because while many of those Pataras would be good in a PvP setting, AI versus AI just not
healthy,
not as potent. As for last year's Pataras, we might. Right now, we're gonna wait and see what happens with 2023 before we make plans to do anything, any tweaking with them.
See how this shakes up the meta and all that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, as for the Blue Patara thing, as was pointed out, the +3s already have some of these alternative negatives to them. But at the +2 and +1 level, we probably won't.
It'd be too strong.
Yeah, like defense maybe at some point we might mess with, just because it tends to already be on the weaker side of things.
Well, and the other side is the ones that we have we like because there is a direct pull and push with what the negative and positives go to.
Yeah.
You know, it would be a lot worse. Like, imagine Hercule with a key +3 attack -1.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where he's not getting a negative to his supers, and his melee that no one cares about gets reduced a little more, but he's charging up in the blink of an eye and doing full powered present bombs.
Yep.
It's just there. It's a very dangerous game when the stats that are on those Blue Patars are not connected in that type of form.
Yep. Because one thing I will say one thing we are trying to do is avoid the just put everything into the blue stat Pataras and just constantly increase stats. Like we as I've said before, like the motivation behind Glass Cannon and now Focus Shot was, you know, melee has a million different ways to buff and mess with the melee meta, like whether that's you just do the little, you know, rush attacks, or you do charged attacks, or ping pong, or whatever. And supers just had like the one legal option, which was indignation, and technically Style of the Strong. But now you have like ultimate +1, Focus Shot, and indignation to give a little more variety there. But even they come with other specific downsides. Like with Focus Shot, it's gonna be harder to use your B1s and potentially your ults, because now you're charging your B1 stock slower.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a huge bonus. Like it's, you know, literally one proc of indignation, and that's it. Which is great, you know, don't get me wrong, it can be very powerful on the right person, but, you know, it comes with a definitive downside.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because, you know, if all everybody is doing is putting everything into stats, and that's it, building is going to get very boring very quickly.
For sure.
So, and then our final question from Havoc: would it be possible to make medical machine legal if it comes with the loss of 1 health bar?
No.
I'm actually going to say we already kind of did. It's called Demonic Bargain, and it's arguably better than the on-field effects of Medical Machine, because Medical Machine, for those who don't know the exact effects, it's Eternal Life plus High Tension, and then when you're off the field, it also accelerates your key regeneration and your health recovery up to the fill
So
of
it
your
has
bar.
KSA built in as well.
It doesn't have the B1 effect of KSA, but it has the other effects. So it really comes down to, do you value the passive charge bonus, which on a non-Android character is only going to matter for the first bar or two, or are you going to value, you know, making it to where your character could potentially charge up to 4 or 5 bars passively? So I think we basically just did make Medical Machine legal in its own way. For the specifics, for the purposes of this question, I think we effectively did.
go.
There you go. You have your medical machine legal, but
So,
better.
so technically, no, we won't make medical machine legal because we've already done it.
Yeah, but that's all our questions. Either of y'all have any closing thoughts?
Not that I can think of. Just thanks everyone for listening, for being subscribers, for we wouldn't be able to do this if we didn't have the supporters and that kind of stuff. So thank you very much for sticking around and supporting the league.
It was a great season. We continue to grow and everything. Make sure you follow the socials and everything, especially TikTok, so we can grow even more on another platform. But yeah, no, it was fun. I enjoy doing this and appreciate it.
We thank everybody for joining us today. We hope everybody has good Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever.
Happy holiday.
Happy holidays. All the holidays. We hope you guys can have good times with your family. And we look forward to seeing you guys in 2023. There's still a couple days left. If depending on when this goes up, you may still have time to sign up for the Tournament of Power. If not, look forward to seeing that on YouTube in a couple of months. We've also got our modding showcase that will, this year will be a little different. It'll mostly focus on the upcoming stuff and maybe a few other ideas and fun little things that I'm still working on. But yeah, just keep an eye out for all the stuff we got coming up soon. And we'll see you guys next year.
Bye.
See ya.
See ya.